on to, okay, so we're going to carry on looking at stories that sell. And we're going to look now at the simple sales story. So we've talked already about using movie time and what's it about. So what's it about is getting it in one sentence. This thing I'm trying to sell, this idea, this product, this service, whatever it is, in one sentence, here's what it's about. Movie time allows you to go, for example, and create a little picture. And then story hooks that we talked about last week allow you to think, okay, I've got something useful to talk about. I've got an example I can show you. How do I get your attention in the first place? And the hook is about getting attention. Okay, so that's where we got up to in terms of the first two-week sessions. We're now coming on to the card in the deck, which is in the kind of the it's a green card. Green because it serves a kind of function, and the function here is about selling. Okay, so this card is called Simple Sales Stories. So I'll just talk you through a kind of version of Simple Sales Stories, and then we can see how that kind of applies, how you can use it yourself. Okay, this is the idea behind this card is that it's a similar card. It's similar to the card called Social Proof, which is also in the deck, and it's an orange card in the Explore section. So these cards kind of sit quite close together. Okay, Simple Sales Stories and Social Proof. And the logic behind it is whenever we're not sure what to do in any situation, we often look at other people to see what they're doing. And we use that as a little guide for ourselves. There's a good reason for that. It's a bit like thinking about crowdsourcing your decisions. So you're looking at what someone else does, because if someone's going to make a mistake, you'd rather it was somebody else, not you. Okay, so other people's experience is really key, because they're like your guinea pigs, your beta testers, and so when you're selling something, the experience of somebody else is really key. I'll give you a little example from a client I've been talking to very recently. And this guy was selling, he was selling financial advice. So how to set up and run a particular kind of company, particular kind of business. And I read through his entire marketing email chain of 18 emails that he was going to send out to his targets, right? And I watched an hour or so of his video content where he's talking on YouTube about his business. And I started to notice something quite early on. And I did a little word count to be sure I was right. And I told him about this later, and I said, I'll see if I can find my notes. I said, look at the pronouns you're using in your text. You say the word I or me about 250 times. You say the word you about 150 times. But the pronouns he or she only appear 3 times. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, what that means is he's very good at telling his story, as in, I started out working in a small company. I decided I wanted to move somewhere else. I found it was hard. I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd known that. Now I'm telling you, yeah, okay. So he's telling his origin story, his founder's story, which is great. We need that. You need one of those stories of why am I telling you what to do? Well, I'm telling you what to do because I've done similar. Okay. So that's not a bad story. Then the other kind of story he was telling was basically, here's what you should do. You need this. You should do this. You could do this. You could do this. You could do this. You could do this. Your business, okay. Now, again, that can be very powerful, because when I say, here's what you need to do, right? Here are 3 story tricks you need to learn. Well, all of you are thinking, oh, Steve's talking about me. Yes. It's very hard not to. So using second person pronouns is actually quite a powerful way of communicating with people. the overall effect of all these emails and all that video content, the overall effect was it was like a one-to-one conversation that was going on between you and this other person. Yes. So my client talking about I this, I that, I this, and you. It was like a conversation. But what was missing was there was no reference outside of to anyone else, or very, very little reference to anyone else who this guy had helped, to any other customers. So the drawback of his approach was, I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, but what if I'm not like you? You've had all these successes with your business, but what if I'm not like you? What if you're just brilliant and I'm crap? And therefore, for me, what was missing and what we're going to be working on together, he and I, are stories about other people, other customers who've gone through this already and have, maybe there's somebody at stage 1 just started, or stage 2, or stage 3, or stage 4. Yes. And those stories are really, really powerful because I can't put up much resistance. I can't go, well, that's just you, mate, not me. Well, then he says, well, look at this woman here. She's just like you, same age, same background. Look at this guy here. He's like you. Look at this guy here. Look at this woman here. Look at, yeah, okay. So all of those start to sort of beat down my resistance because I'm putting up barriers as to why I don't want to buy this stuff. Because that's what we all do. Yeah, we put up reasons why we don't want to buy stuff. And my reason is, well, I can't do that. You can, I can't. Okay, 10 other people can. 20 other people can. 30 other people can. 40 other people can. And guess what? They're like you. So on the back of the Simple Sales Stories card, so on the back it suggests there are, okay, two kind of ways you can do it and 3 types of customer you can do it with. So probably the first and simplest version of a simple sales story is someone like you buys this product. And the key words there are like you. Because if your target audience is, let's say your target audience is, I don't know, teachers in secondary school, and you're telling them a story about some high-flying executive in Hollywood, it's not that relatable. Yeah, they're going to switch off. But if you tell them a story about a teacher in a secondary school, well, yeah, straight away there's a connection. So what you're doing with this someone like you story is you get your audience profile tool, right? And you think, right, that's the person I'm targeting. Well, that's the kind of person I'm targeting with this sales message. Now what you need is a story of someone who is as close as you can get to that person. Now, when I say close, okay, maybe they look the same. Yes, same age, gender, ethnicity. Yep, maybe they're similar type of person. Excuse me. Or maybe they've got the same problem. Right. So they could be a completely different person, yes, but they've got the same problem. Maybe they work in the same industry or the same country or the same, yeah, anything of similarity. So if you're talking to, trying to sell your product to engineers in Germany, well, if you've sold your product to other engineers anywhere in the world, that's a plus. If you've sold your product to German companies, that's a plus. That's similar. Okay, so you get the idea. So the first thing is to get your audience profile and then think, okay, who have I worked with who is as similar to this person as I can possibly find? And then you tell their story. That's for example. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is if you're just starting out in a particular line of business and you don't have any customers yet, right? Everyone starts somewhere. So you don't have any customers. What do you do? Because you can't say, I've helped someone like you. Okay. Well, here's 2 things I think you do in that situation. The first is you think, okay, what have I done before now in previous jobs, previous careers that was similar? Did I help somebody with a similar problem? Okay, that's one way in. The other thing you do find yourself doing, though, in certain lines of business is when you're first starting out, you're giving away work for free. So you're doing work for nothing for people in order that you can have some stories to tell. So you'll give a free sample, you'll give a free webinar, you'll give a free, yeah, because what you're trying to say is, in return, I want a story. I want to be able to use you as a case study of someone who I've helped. So, you know, for quite a while, when I was starting out as a consultant, I was able to say to people, I've worked with Bentley Motors. Bentley is one of the big luxury car brands. I've worked with Bentley Motors. They got me in to do a free morning session for their team. They didn't pay me for it, but I did work. But it was very valuable. They didn't pay me any money, but it was actually a very valuable session to me because I was able to reference what I'd done with them. So that's the first type of story: is someone like you buys this product. It's also interesting to flip it around. Someone you like buys this product. So again, you get to know your audience and think, who are they influenced by? So if you're selling baby food to mothers and you said to them that the biggest maternity hospital in London buys this product. Okay, that's powerful because, yes, I like, if I'm a new mother, yes, I like doctors, you'd hope anyway. Okay, the final thing on the card is that it suggests there are three kinds of customers who you can tell stories about. Okay, the first one is an old customer. If you worked with somebody, say, I don't know what you're selling, but let's say you worked with somebody and you made, excuse me, you're a house builder, right? And you're in the house building market. Yes, show me a new house. You've just built this new house. Fantastic. But it's new. Show me a house you built 20 years ago. Does it still look good? Okay. If you're a family business, yeah, show me something you built 40 years ago. Is it still standing? Well, you know what? That's pretty useful because if you did it right 40 years ago, you're probably going to do it right now. The next category is regular customers. This guy bought from us once, then he came back for more. So my longest standing regular customer, I was just on the call with now, at Trinity College in Dublin, and they've been using me for story training for their academics now for 7 years. So 4 or 5 times a year for the last 7 years, I run sessions for them. That tells you something, which is, look, you can sell any crap to anyone once, but you can't sell crap to people twice or 3 times or 4 times because you just can't. So the fact that you've done something again and again and again is a very powerful story. You must be doing something right. The final category of customer is the tricky customer. And the tricky customer is, okay, we we gave them what we thought they wanted, but actually it wasn't what they wanted, and we had to go back and put it right. Okay, well, that tells us you're the kind of person who puts stuff right. One of the reasons we're all sitting here today is that Storyteller Tactics isn't quite right as a product. It's not quite easy enough to use. So we run sessions like this, yeah, to make it easier to use. Well, we could have just sold it to you all and said, well, read the cards. Yeah. What do you mean you can't understand it? How stupid are you? We could have said that. There aren't many book publishers where they would invite people into, yeah, to this kind of process, but that's not the kind of company we are. So, okay, you get the idea. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest is that we break you into pairs and to develop a simple sales story based on one of those three categories of customer: an old customer, a regular customer, or a tricky customer, that tells us what you're trying to do is build trust. This tactic builds trust by pointing, builds trust by pointing at what other people have experienced with you. Yeah. So it's going beyond. You're trying to build trust in a one-to-one relationship in sales. You can trust me. Okay, that's fundamentally what you're trying to do. But with this tactic, you're going, you can trust me because they trust me. So you're getting a bit, you're broadening out. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest we do is I will give you 15 minutes in the breakout, if this is okay for everyone. And the idea is to come up with, now, is anybody in a situation where you don't have any customers yet? Or you've all got customers? Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Right. So everyone happy? Any questions before we break? Okay. Let's cut you into the breakout. And so we'll go to breakout for 15 minutes. Then we'll have 15 minutes left at the end of it for us to kind of spin through and give quick feedback on some customer stories. Okay. Okay, folks. So we are talking about telling simple sales stories. Let's see if we can get through as many as we can in the 15 minutes we've got. So we had 3 breakout rooms. Who'd like to go first from breakout room 1? And that was, hold on a second. Breakout room 1 was Chris, Luke, and Victoria.
Tom, I'm happy to go first, guys, given our conversation.
Yep.
And team play and all that. So just for context, so I work in a technology space, working with lots of different customers, predominantly around cyber security and networking, so connecting people, places, etc. So I did have a little bit of time, Steve, to prepare something. So it's slightly more formed, but at the same time, slightly maybe lengthy as well. So apologies in advance for that.
Let's give it a go.
So connecting people, places, apps, and data is the same for any business. In the age of cyber threats and the cloud, it must also be secure. So some customers have fixed sites or offices, and others have offices that are mobile or temporary. So our protagonist, James, was handed a project supporting a significant UK road construction project that started with a steep challenge of connecting up mobile construction sites in the middle of a field in just 2 weeks. So we had a reputation in the industry for having hundreds of these devices in the field, and we were seen as the go-to partner for connecting hard-to-reach locations. So it was akin to playing a high-stakes game of technological tag in a labyrinth, and conversations with James initially seemed as knotted as a pair of old earbuds, but soon unravelled a grander scheme to catapult IT from behind-the-scenes role to the star of the construction show. Teaming up with James felt like assembling a puzzle blindfolded. Our plan was intricate as a spider's web, yet flexible. It was ready to bend and twist with the project's current and evolving demands. And services we provided are summed up as the design, build, and support for a broad set of connectivity and security services. So this included new technology and services, such as a single secure wireless network for all locations and staff. So this tale is less about technical flexibility and more about evolving viewpoints, inventing novel approaches, and building relationships stronger than the bricks on the construction site. It's a testament to our flair for spinning tech challenges into victories, even amid the muddiest of terrains.
Brilliant. Okay, well done. So James is your customer, yes?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. So listen, the first thing I want to do is we're just going to flip back into movie time. Okay. Because there's the movie is there. Yeah. James is working on a construction site. Right. I think with a few tiny extra details, yeah, we can get it into really sharp focus. So what is the actual construction? What are they building? Is it a road, a railway?
So yeah, it's a road construction project upgrade. So the A14, Huntingdon and Cambridgeshire, if you know it.
I sort of know the area. Okay, so it's a road upgrade in a rural area. Yes.
Yeah.
How many people? How many people roughly working on the site?
Thousands of people.
Over what period? Of what sort of?
It's 3.5 to 4 year project. I don't know in terms of the length of the road, but yeah, it was the largest construction project at the time in 10 years.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So we've got thousands of people working across, let's say, for the sake of argument, a 25-mile piece of road.
Yeah.
thousands of people, and okay, they all need, as well as diggers and drills and all that kind of thing, they all need connected devices.
Yeah.
So IT, I think there's a nice line you used. There's like IT that needs to work in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
How bad does that situation get? The field, like when it's raining and it's muddy, yeah, they still need to pull out a case hardened iPad and get access to
Yeah.
information. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think with a little bit of a tiny bit of extra detail, that
Yeah.
brings the movie into sharper focus.
Yeah.
Yes, because now it's not just a construction project; it's a road for running for 30 miles with thousands of workers, and the weather can be awful out there,
Yeah.
and they're in
But
the
here's
mud.
the UK after all. Yeah.
Absolutely, and they're in the mud, and they still need access to emails, documents, updates. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. They still need to be in connection with the office. They still need, okay, so they really need us. So those little extra tiny details help us to resolve the picture in our heads. Now we're in the
Yeah.
movie. Okay. Okay. So James is you're playing tag. Um, okay. So the there's some nice phrases here. Okay, it's like trying to do a puzzle while blindfolded. It's playing technological tag. We're trying to make IT the star of the show. Okay, some nice little phrases there. Nice writing. Again, from the movie point of view, why? So give us a little moment when it was really tough. It was a really tough job because what? Because James kept asking for the impossible, or he was, so little bits of, again, little moments. If you can find, so you said, look, what really matters here for us actually is relationships. The moral of this story, if you like, is there a relationship. We build good relation. We build good IT. We build good relationships.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're really needing here in this story, because this is a tricky customer story, what you kind of need here is, okay, well, give us a moment where you both got, I don't know, frustrated with each other, or a moment when, yeah, you thought, oh, we're really pissing him off here. We've got to change something. And so
Yeah.
you're looking for, again, you've told us it was like blindfold, putting a puzzle together blindfolded.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great metaphor. Um, give us a little tiny movie, for example, moment. Like, for example, there was a time when half his team were off site and the road side was flooded and whatever it is. Yeah, a little
Yeah.
moment where IT, your way of doing IT becomes the star of the show.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can adjust that.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got a little movie about a customer. So the way you would use that story, I guess, would be, okay, well, you're obviously talking to another construction firm. Yes. It's and
Yeah.
particularly one who works outdoors in complex, yeah,
Yeah.
sites. Well, that's perfect story for them. Excuse me. If you were trying to approach let's say you're working with a hospital provider, completely different setting, right?
Yeah.
Well, what you'd be looking for is, okay, what's their version of a muddy field? Yep. Their version of a muddy field is patients coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning, yeah, drunk into accident and emergency and causing so there's always a tricky problem. And you say, look, we've not worked in hospitals, but we have worked with really demanding customers who, okay, so you get the idea. Brilliant. Okay,
Yeah.
listen, Luke,
Thank you.
that's really good. I'm going to have to stick really close to time because I've
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
call out.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Victoria, you wanted to raise something?
Yeah, sure. Shall I go next?
Yes, please. And I'm sorry, folks, that might be the last one we get to do. I do apologise. Go on, Victoria.
I'll make mine. I think mine's quite quick. So, hello. By day, I work in finance, and by night, I'm an aspiring author. Here's my simple sales story. In 2019, I set up my own consultancy, and my very first client, David, was the founder of an e-learning company. David asked me to write training scripts about financial topics. For example, I wrote 5,000 words about treating customers fairly. David sold these courses to several large financial clients, such as the insurers Prudential and Aviva. He was so happy with these sales, he asked me to write a few more courses, which was great. Then last year, he came back to me and asked me for some new course ideas. So I came up with 20 courses, thinking maybe he'd agree to 10 of them. But he actually asked me to write all 20 courses. that means that last year I wrote 100,000 words of e-learning, which I'm now thinking of turning into a book.
Excellent. Right. Okay. Here's why that story works. There is, yes, you've gone into a little moment. Here's David. He's a person. Yeah, he's asked me to do this thing. And the social proof elements here, there's two. Interestingly, you're actually doing two simple sales stories in one here. I don't know if people have picked up on it. The first is, if you're like David, yes, and you run an e-learning company. Well, if you're like David, you need a good writer. Well, I'm that writer because David likes me. He likes me so much, he came back for more. Okay, so that's working on one level. So if you're then approaching another educational provider who wants reliable copy, yes, reliable, accurate, on time writing, well, David needed that too. And look, here's what I did for him. The other bit, okay, you've done two versions of the simple sales story because you've done, here's someone like you, here's someone you like, Prudential and Aviva. Okay, so you've name dropped, if you like, people who we know about and who hopefully we like. I mean, if you'd said, and then I worked for the post office with helping the Horizon software. No, that's not. You get what I mean. So that's a UK joke. Sorry, folks. But you get the idea. You've kind of also influenced us by using this kind of, okay, here's someone who you like. These big companies, these successful companies, you'd like to be successful. I'm working with successful companies too. Payoff, I've now written 100,000 words and I'm thinking of writing a book. So you could even tell this story to a publisher. Yes. David trusted me to write, 20 courses, 100,000 words. And he keeps coming back to me. How long ago did you and David first work together?
So 2019.
2019. Okay, so we've been working together now for
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
You keep coming back for more. I love it. I love the fact you said I wrote 20 thinking he would only ask for 10.
Yeah, so genuinely that's what happened.
Yeah, but then he asked for all 20. Brilliant. What a great little uplifting story. So listen, guys, I'm really sorry. We're gonna have to finish really tight on time. That's my reminder. Okay. So here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to set up a shared workspace for us to use. I was going to pause the recording here. Hold on a second. I'll stop the recording.